Munkatch. We're in Minchas Elazar, Chelik Hey, Siman Yud Beis, okay? Book 5, or part 5, section 12. In the matter of settling the land of Israel. Hine Reisi, Chazos Kasha. Hard to read what it says there, but I saw something difficult. B'Shalis Chuvos, maybe, in the questions and answers of the Avnei Nezer. La'goyin HaKadosh mi Sakotshov. Zecher Tzadik Levracha. Okay, he said, I can't read what this third word here says. I saw something difficult in the questions and answers of the book called Avnei Nezer to the great and holy one from Sakotshov, a blessed memory. In section 2, Chelik Beis, Maimer Yud or something, so the second book, 10th part, Simin Taf Nun Dalid, the paragraph number 454. V'sham oid har beit shuvos, and there's many more answers. Nikra'u hilchos yeshivos Eretz Yisrael, that are called the laws of settling the land of Israel. V'hine be'ezras Hashem yisparach, and behold, with the help of Hashem, blessed be He, avay al seder devarav, I will come on the order of things, uvasayf davar, and at the end of things, b'tshuvasi bazeh, and my answer in this, hakol nishma hechlet ha'inyan v'ha'alacha bazeh. Everything is going to sound smooth, I think, the matter and the law in this, okay? Hine, behold, Rabbeinu HaRambam, loy mana zeh b'sefer ha'mitzvah shaloi. Maimonides, our teacher, did not count this in his book of commandments. L'mitzvah saseh, as a positive mitzvah. L'resha sa'aretz, to conquer the land, u'lasheves ba, and to settle in it. The HaRamban and Nachmanides, cholak alav, he argues on him. V'choshav mitzvah saseh zu, and he counts this as a mitzvah of going out in a positive mitzvah. Uba Megillas Esther Sham, and there in the Megillah of Esther, Teretz, it's answered, Mashaloi Mana HaRambam, that which the Maimonides did not count. Mitzvah zu, this as a commandment, Mishum she'eino neheges bizman hazeh, because it's not applicable in these days. V'lo have a mitzvah naheg ledaris, and it wasn't a mitzvah that applied, or that was the custom ledaris for generations already. It wasn't applicable. Uba Avnei Nezer Sham, in the book that he quoted in the beginning, the Avnei Nezer there, in the Simin Taf Nun Dalid 454, Ois Dalid, letter 4, Haksha al HaMegillas Esther. He questions on the Megillas Esther. Dim Kain, because if so, Lama Mana HaRambam, then why did Maimonides count the Sefer Mitzvahs in his book of commandments? Truma, Umaisrois, V'chala, the mitzvah of tithing of Truma and tithing of Maaser and of Chala, of bread. She'enam nahagim bizman hazeh, because those also are not applicable today, in these days. Va'afilu bizman Ezra, and even in the time of Ezra, the scribe, lo nahagu, they weren't applicable, they weren't doing these. Mehatorah maybe? Memhei Taf, I'm not sure. Ladas HaRambam, according to the opinion of the Rambam, Maimonides. V'adavar pashut, and the matter is simple, mitzvah sheneheges limaisa Mashiach, that a mitzvah that is going to be applicable, that is customary in the days of Messiah, neheges l'daris, it's customary forever. Ad kan l'shayne. So end quote from the Avnei Nezer. Ad kan l'shayne ha'avnei Nezer. V'nifla'e si ma'oid, and I was bewildered very much. V'yitmak, and bewildered. I wondered and bewildered. Kol oiver al devarav, zecharni levracha. Anyone who goes on his words, blessed be He. Anyone who reads his words should be bewildered, I think he's saying. Dilma haksha mitruma v'chala shenahagim al kalpana midrabanan lezecher gam bizman hazeh. V'truma be'eretz Yisrael naeg gam bizman hazeh. So maybe you can ask from Truma and Dilema Heksha, why are you asking from Truma and Chala? Why are you asking from Truma and Chala that are customary, even in any way, there is still customary, at least according to the rabbis, even if it's not biblical, but at least according to the rabbis it is, as a remembrance, even these days. And Truma in Israel is also is applicable in these days. Masha Enken Karbonai Subinyan Beis Hamikdash, which is not the case for sacrifices in the building of the temple. Because they are not customary and applicable only in the days of Messiah there. With the building of the temple, the holy temple, quickly in our days. But in these days there is no matter and connection. And even so, Rambam Sham B'Sefer Mitzvos Kol Mitzvos HaKarbanos Ubinyan Beis Hamikdash. And even so, the Maimonides counts in his book of commandments all the mitzvos of the sacrifices in the building of the temple. Umadua Tofas HaAbnei Nezer. And why did the Abnei Nezer grab onto this? Hatofel Bazeh, the insignificant in this. Lahaksha is to ask Mechala, to ask from Chala, the Kiyoitza, and similar stuff, right? The Islahu Pircha, that there is a question or an answer. V'aniach lahakshay se'ikar mikol mitzvah sakarbanos ubinyan beis hamikdash shechashav Rambam, and he's placing to ask his question on the main thing from all the mitzvahs of the karbanos, or he should have placed to ask his question maybe from the main of all these mitzvahs, which is the sacrifices in the building of the temple. Shechashav Rambam, that the Maimonides did count. Aleph Vav, I don't know what that means. The Choshev Rambam Gam Kol HaMitzvah Sheneheges Mimois HaMashiach Havei Noeg L'Doros, and also all the commandments that are applicable in the Messianic era, they are applicable for generations. Vim Kain, and if so, Kasha Gam Kain, it's difficult also Ala Megillas Esther Kaniskar. It's also difficult on the Megillas Esther that was quoted, that was mentioned. Elavadai, rather certainly, Borer, it's clear, the mitzvah sakarbanos ubinyan beis hamikdash, that the mitzvah of the sacrifices and building of the temple, shiachzru bebinyan bayashlishi, hamakave, that is going to return with the building of the third temple that we are hoping for, that we're waiting for. Zehu choshev harambam, these, the Rambam, the Maimonides counted in his book of mitzvahs, kivan de elu yinhagu la'asid, because these are going to be applicable in the future. Like the Maimonides writes, Behilchas Malachim, in the Laws of Kings, in Perek Yud Aleph, Halacha Aleph, in chapter 11, section 1. Because the King Messiah is going to return the kingship of the house of David. And they will return all the laws in his days like they were previously. Ad kan lashon hakodesh, I think. Until here is the holy word. So it's end quote. I think that's what ayin kof lamed he means. Vimkain, and if so, shaper chashiv harambam. So if so, the Maimonides counted nicely the Sefer HaMitzvos in his book of mitzvahs. Kol elu mishpatei haTorah v'mitzvos. All these laws of the Torah and the commandments, hainu hakarbonos, they are the sacrifices, v'chol inyanei beis hamikdash, and all the matters of the temple, the holy temple, v'chol mitzvos shenahagim be'eretz, and all the commandments that are applicable in the land, bizman habayis, at the time of the temple. Masha enken binyanei kivo sha'aretz, which is not so in matters of conquering the land, hainu l'rashas ha'aretz, to conquer the land, v'l'shevis ba, and to settle in it. Shalo yiyeh oid kamay shahaya kaidem binyan beis rishon. Because it's not going to be any more like it was before the first temple. Like it says in the Torah, in the portion of Mishpatim. I will not send away divorce from before you, etc. all at once. I'm not going to send them all out at once. Slowly, little bit by little bit, I will divorce them from before you, send them away from before you, the nations of the land. Until you will, I think, redeem or take revenge or something, and you will settle the land, and you will inherit the land. And this was because of the sin that is known in the desert. Al-Kain, therefore, Holchu migoy el goy. They went from nation to nation. Mamlacha el am acher. And a kingship to another nation. Al yidei shoftim, through judges, umilchamais, and wars, vitzarais, and afflictions, ad asher zachu, b'rabbis hayamim, until they merited, with the increasing of days, lebinyan bayis rishon, to build the first temple, al yidei Shlomo HaMelech, through King Solomon, al yidei hanavi mipi HaKadosh Baruch Hu, on the hand of the prophet, from the mouth of the Holy One, blessed be he. Masha en ken binyan bayis hashlishi, which is not the case with the building of the third temple, Amakave b'maisa Mashiach, that is hoped for and awaited for in the days of the Messiah. Beis, I don't know what that stands for. B'mhera b'yameinu, quickly in our days. Achrei arichos hagolos, after the lengthening of the exile, halaz, this one. Degam HaRambam, that even the Rambam, Shapasuk Sham, that he rules there, Behilchos Malachim, in the laws of kings, in Perek Yud Beis Halacha Beis, in chapter 12, section 12. Kishmuel, he follows the law of Samuel Shmuel from Sanhedrin, Kufalaf Ayin Amid Beis. In Tractate Sanhedrin, page 101, folio 2. That there's no difference between this world and the Messianic era, besides for the Shiabun Malchus alone, only the enslavement to the kingdoms. That's the only thing that's going to change in the end days, is that we will no longer have this enslavement to the kingdoms. Hainu has nahagos acharkach. That is the way, the custom, the application after. Avol mikol malkaim. But in any case, Maida, he admits and agrees, to bias Mashiach tzidkenu, that the coming of the Messiah, our righteous one, v'yashivasa al kisei machusai, and his returning onto the throne of his kingship, lo yiyeh b'bchinas katnos chas v'shalom. It's not going to be in an aspect of smallness, heaven forbid, k'may shahaya mikaydem b'bayis rishain, like it was previously in the first temple. Ubefrata bayasheni, and specifically also in the second temple. Ra kamashikosav Rambam Sham, rather only it's going to be like the Maimonides writes there, Beperak Yud Aleph, Ubeperak Yud Beis, in chapter 11 and 12, Sheyiyeh al yedei hanavi mipi Hashem, that it's going to be on the hand of the prophet from the mouth of Hashem. V'yamoid melech mi beis David, and he's going to stand up a king from the house of David. Hoiga b'Torah, well versed in Torah, or appropriate in Torah, like something in Torah, Isaac b'mitzvahs, and he's going to be involved in the commandments, v'chule, etc. V'yachayv kol Yisrael, and he's going to force all of Israel. Le'lech ba ulechazek be daka. I don't know what bedaka means, but he's gonna force all of Israel to go in it, in the commandments of Hashem, in the Torah, and then to hold in it. Ulechazek, maybe tzedakah. Does it say it? Bedaka, and to hold something. V'yilachem milchamas Hashem. He's going to fight the wars of Hashem. Hainu loy milchama tivius. It's not going to, behold, that is, it's not a natural war in Magoyim with the nations, kamay milefnim kanal, like it was previously, as mentioned above. So it's not going to be a natural war. V'gam yisyachzu kol Yisrael al pi melech HaMashiach, and also all of Israel is going to be connected and associated through the mouth of King Messiah. Beruach HaKodesh shetanuach alav, with the holy divine spirit that will rest upon him, v'chule, etc. Shemaydia mizeh, that it's known from this, mishevet ploini, v'zeh mishevet ploini. Shemaydia mizeh mishevet ploini, v'zeh mishevet ploini. He's gonna make known that this one is from this shevet, and this one is from this shevet. Which tribe are you from? V'chule, etc. Ad kan l'shayne harambam ayin sham. Until now, end quote, the words of Maimonides, see there. Memela mita'am zeh, automatically, for this reasoning, loy choshav harambam b'sefer mitzvah shalai, Maimonides didn't count in his book of mitzvahs lichbush ha'aretz, to conquer the land, l'shavis ba, and to settle there. Kivan shezeu einay noheg b'yameinu, because this is not applicable in our days. V'gam mizman Mashiach ein shayach l'tzavis zeh, and even in the Messianic era, it's not appropriate, it's not shaykh to command this. Az l'chol Yisrael, then to all of Israel. K'moishe ari, k'moishare ha hatzavais, maybe like the rest of the commandments. Kivan shezeu lo yiyah toloi b'hem, because this is not going to be dependent on the people. Az sheyich b'shua raku mitzvahs u'pekudas hamelech hamashiach hakadosh hu levada yaseh zois. Then when he conquers, only him, the mitzvahs and the commandments of the King Messiah, the Holy One, he alone is going to do this. V'yehilah came, it's hard to read the print. Le'shvatim beruach kodsha mipi Hashem yisparach v'kanal me'al Rambam. V'yechlikam, man, he's gonna apportion the tribes with his Holy Spirit. He's gonna tell us what tribes are from the mouth of the Holy One, blessed be He, from Hashem, blessed be, and like as mentioned earlier, from the Maimonides. V'gam ayin sham be'Rambam Hilchos Malachim Perek Dal Halacha Ches Ki HaMelech HaMashiach Noitel Chelik Shaloi B'Ha'artzois Chelik Yud Gimel. And also see there from Maimonides in the Laws of Kings, chapter 4, section 8, that the King Messiah takes his portion in the lands, chapter 13, or section 13. Thou call upon him, and in any case, hu davar hashayach rak lemelech hamashiach bavad. In any case, this conquering of the land is something that is only applicable and it's only connected to and associated to only to the King Messiah alone. V'loi b'derech kibush, and not in a way of conquering via Shiva and settling, the Chalukah and dividing. Shahaya lifnei habayis harishan keniskar. That was before the first temple, that was mentioned. V'ozra kaya hamitzvah saseh halaz, and then only it was a positive commandment that was mentioned. The gam bebayis hasheni, and also in the second temple, sha'alu oirapam, when they arose again. L'sheves ba'aretz, to settle in the land. Haya mipi Hashem, was from the mouth of Hashem, al yedei neviyav, through the hand of his prophets. Chagai, Zechariah, Malachai. These three prophets, Chagai, Zechariah, and Malachi. V'al yedei anshe knesset hagedolah, and through the hand of the men of the great assembly. V'Daniel and Daniel. V'Ezra, and Ezra the scribe, right? V'Nechemia and Nehemiah. The Ruach HaKodesh, with the Holy Spirit. Mipi Hashem, from the mouth of Hashem, Kisha Omer Chazal, like the sages of blessed memory said, Bekama Makames, in many places. The Aleph Kuf Mem Lamed, I don't know what that means. Ve'en Kan Makan Laharech, and this is not the place to talk a lot about it. Vav Aleph Shin, what's Vav Aleph Shin? Ein Shram Devrei Rambam Zechonu B'Sefer Mitzvah. Oh, the ayin sham maybe. No, that's what the ayin, no? I don't know. Something there, maybe the words of Maimonides, Divrei HaRambam, Zechorei Levracha, blessed memory, B'Sefer HaMitzvos, in the book of Mitzvos. Okay. V'im Toim Aaron, if you're going to say, Lama Chashav HaRambam, why did Maimonides count B'Sefer HaMitzvos, in his book of Mitzvos, of commandments, Mitzvahs Aseh, the Binyan Beis HaMikdash, the positive commandment to build the Holy Temple. Also, this is not applicable in exile. V'gam lo yiyah binyan hashlishi b'tchasim b'tchumim b'scham shahaya b'binyan beis rishon u'befrat hasheni. So why did Maimonides then count the building of the Holy Temple in his book of Mitzvos as a positive commandment? This is also not applicable in exile. And it's not going to be applicable, the third temple, something in the way that it was in the first and the second. Al Yedei, through the hand of Beis Nun Aleph. I don't know what Beis Nun Aleph. Barnash? No. Bnei Adam maybe. Through the hand of people. Rak Yavoi. Bimhera b'yameinu, but rather it's going to come quickly in our days. Banoi u'mishuchlal min hashemayim, built and completed from heavens, or something from heavens. From Ashikasav Rashi, like Rashi writes, the Tosfos, and also the Tosafos, the Haritzvos, so the Ritva, Besukkah in Tractate Sukkah, on page Mem Aleph, folio 1, Mem Aleph Amid Aleph, the Tirtzu Bazeh that answers with this Sham there, Kach Yuchol Lahavnois, that for that is able to be built, Hainu Lavai Banoi Mishuchlal, to come and complete it, or come built in something, Min HaShamayim, from heavens, Gam B'Yom Tov, even holidays, Dasu of Noisei, Bnei Adam Ayin Sham, that it's forbidden to build, people to build on the holidays or something, I think. I hope I'm reading it accurately, more or less. Vim Kain, and if so, Einoi B'Yan Gashmi, it's not a physical building, Masha Shehaya Habinyan Beis HaMikdash, Masha Yiyah Habinyan Beis HaMikdash Lasid, that which the building of the temple will be in the future. It's not going to be a physical building. So why did Maimonides count this as a positive commandment in his book of mitzvot? Because this is not connected to in the commandments, only mitzvahs, positive mitzvahs of mankind. Like the first two temples. The first two temples were a mitzvah on people because they were physical buildings. The third one's going to come down from heaven, already complete. It's not a mitzvah for us. So why did he count it as a mitzvah? It's not applicable. Yeshlemer de Harambam loy svira le kedas Rashi udeime hanal. And you can answer that Maimonides doesn't follow the opinion of Rashi and those that are with him that were mentioned. Ra k'mashikasav sham ha'aruch l'ner b'sukkah. Only like it's written, rather it's like it's written there, the Aruch L'Ner, the commentary Aruch L'Ner writes there in Tractate Sukkah, Tagam she'hasagnu al divrei ha'Aruch L'Ner b'chinas oila tamid, and even though we maybe grasp or something through the hands of the Aruch L'Ner, an aspect of oilas tamid, Bechibur Oilas Tamid. In his book called Oilas Tamid, maybe, I think, I don't know. Perek Zayin, B'divrei HaMaschil, Zeh Seder Tamid Avodas V'chulei. In the chapter 7, in the title, subsection, header called "This is the order of the Tamid for the service, etc." Ayin Sham, see there, Mikol Makam Harambam Nira D'Sfirle Kain. Bal Korche. It seems like Maimonides holds like him against your will, I think. Meaning like you have to say Maimonides holds like that. Like he writes in his words, in his Lashon. In chapter 11, Law 4. Al melech HaMashiach im asav v'atzliach ubana mikdash b'mkaimai the kibbetz nidche Yisrael harei she'melech HaMashiach yivnahu. He writes that on the King Messiah, if he's going to build, and he succeeds, and he builds the temple in its place, and he gathers the dispersed of Israel, so you see, behold, the King Messiah is going to build it. And not that it's going to descend from heaven, built and completed, like mentioned earlier. Gam kile ish echad ba'atzmai. Beis Nun Yud Be Nei Yisrael, maybe. It's also simple and obvious. His intention is, it seems, from the drawing out of his words or something, from what he says there, not that it's going to be built, the King Messiah himself, B'derech Nes, in a way of a miracle, B'derech Nes, because in one man himself, you can't build such a great hall, chamber. Rather, it's going to be through the builders of Israel. Something like that. Like it was in the time of the first temple in King Solomon's time. Therefore, it's appropriate and nice what he wrote, the Rambam, that it's a positive commandment to build a temple, like we mentioned, okay? Because the people are going to have to build it. And from now, you don't have to say that it's a doichak, it's a forced, like a doichak means you forced the answer. You don't have to say it's forced. the forced answer of our great rabbi. You don't have to say it's a force from the great rabbi, the master of the Avnei Nezer. Mashakasav Sham, that he writes there in Ois Vav, in letter 6, he writes there, the mitzvah saseh, the hechrem machrimam shemona harambam b'sefer mitzvahs av she'eino noig bizman hazeh, that something cherem, you can make cherem, that he counted the Maimonides in his book of mitzvahs, even though it's not a custom of, even though it's not applicable in these days. Mikol makam hu zehu lahachrim ulegaresh esa shivas amim kidei she'anachnu neshe be'eretz. In any case, it is that which it is to make cherem and divorce and send away the 7 nations in order that we can settle the land. V'im kain, and if so, mochrach shemitzvahs yeshivas haaretz hu min haTorah. It must be. It's proven that the mitzvah, the commandment of settling the land, is a positive commandment from the Torah. It's from the Torah. V'alzeh kai mitzvah saseh dehechrem v'chulei. And on this, it's applicable, or it's called a positive commandment of hechrem, etc. That positive commandment of hechrem, chachrem, whatever. That's talking about like kicking away the 7 nations or something. V'dvarav temuhin be mitkahada. I don't know what that means. Bezmem tuf kaf hey dalad gimel. And his words are a wonder. I don't know what the acronym means. V'ad heicha nidchak, and until where is he forced or pushed, laichiach, to prove davar, this thing, sha'arambam kasav be'atzmai, that the Maimonides writes himself, loikein is not so, rakatam dehechrem machrimim, rather the reasoning for this mitzvah of hechrem tachrimim, that you should make it a cherem, shemana lemitzvah saseh, that he counts it as a mitzvah saseh, a positive commandment, the af shekvar avad zachram chashiv noihag l'daras, that even though we already forgot their memory, we already forgot their memory, it's considered as applicable for the generations, mishum she'elu hayu ba'olam, that if they were in the world, she'ilu hayu ba'olam, if they were in the world, hainu mitzuvim lahachrimim, we would be commanded to destroy them. Ad kan devarav. End quote. Ad kan divrei Rabbeinu Harambam Zechron Levracha. Until here is the words of Maimonides' blessed memory. V'harei beferish, and you see explicitly, Deloy kita'ameh deharav Avnei Nezer, that he's not going according to the reasoning of the Avnei Nezer. Umashakasav sham lahakshais al pi devara divrei hamegillas Esther, and that which he wrote there to question on the words of the Megillas Esther. Mashaloi chashav harambam asiyas alrein v'kaparis mitzvah bifnei atzmai, that which the Maimonides did not count, the making of a aron. The aron is the ark, and the kaparis is, I think, a curtain. Why didn't he count it there as a mitzvah by itself? Mipnei aron nignaz, because the ark was hidden. Ula asid lava yiskala, and in the future it's going to be revealed. Ula olam lo yitztarach lasais acher, and we'll never have to make another ark. Ad kan devarav. End quote. Megillas Esther. End quote from Megillas Esther. V'al zeh hiksha b'Avnei Nezer, and on this, these questions in the Avnei Nezer, the Kamashikasav Rambam, that just like the Maimonides wrote the mitzvahs aseh dehechrem tachrimim kanal, on the mitzvah of you should surely destroy them, that was mentioned, she'ilu hayu, that if they were, that we would have to destroy them. Kol sheken shemitam zeh, so certainly for this reasoning, yimna asiyas arayin v'kapares, we would count or withhold or count or the making of the ark and the curtain, mishum she'ilu nevad, because if they were lost, hainu mitzuyin la'asayis achar an kandavar, because what if we did lose them? Then we would have to be making them. So just like we have a mitzvah even in this day to destroy the 7 nations, or what they've already been destroyed, so why do we have to do it? Oh, but if they were alive, we would have to destroy them. So too, we're trying to say on this theoretical situation that if we would lose the aron and the kaparis, we'd have to build them, so it's a positive mitzvah. Okay. Ule vav lamed kof mem. I don't know what this stands for. Veloy ke veloy kasha mehacha. I don't know. It's not a question. I don't know. Veloy dami, and it's not similar. Zelazeh, this to this. They're not similar. Debish shloima. Debish lama, because that it's very good. Debish lama, it's very good. Imafti chanu yisparch shemai. If the Holy One, blessed be He, gave us a promise and ensured us, sheyachzer ha'arayin v'kaparis lasud lavai miginizasai, that if Hashem gave us a havtacha, insurance, that He will return the ark and the kaparis in the future from its hiding place, hareza barur kishemesh, behold, it's clear like the sun, asher kain, that it is so, yeah, it'll be. V'ein mitzias acher klal, and there is no other existence. It must be so. V'im kain, and if so, lama tzarech lemitzvasase, why do we need a positive commandment? La siyasar and kaparis mechadash, to make a new aron and a new kaparis. Masha enkin mitzvasase tehachrem tachrimim, which is not the case with the mitzvah of you should surely destroy them. Imki hashiva amim amamin arvu, because the 7 nations were mixed up. Avalulai be'ezeh oifen, but maybe in some way. V'yesh mitzios asher yivadalanu, then there will be a reality where it'll be made known to us. Shehemi shiva amim, that they are from the 7 amam nations. Alkein shapet shuvas. Alkein shapir toshuv. Shapir choshuv. Therefore, appropriate it was to count a mitzvah aseh, the positive mitzvah, dehachrem tachrimim, that you shall surely destroy them. Shenoi gam bizman hazeh, which is applicable also in this day. Im ye'era she'ayda lonu kanisker. If it'll happen, that it will be made known to us, like mentioned. V'yesh levaroid v'loimer tameh da Rambam bazeh. And there is to explain more and say the reasonings of Maimonides in this, Tahavia l'shitasai, because it is according to his opinion. Mashakasa behilchos malachim, that which he writes in the laws of kings, Perek Yod Halacha Ches, chapter 10, law 8. Amr chachamim shebnei ketura shehem zarei shel Avram b'chulei. The sages said that the sons of Keturah, right, one of the wives of Abraham, that they are the seed of Abraham, etc. V'hayol v'nisarvu b'nei Yishmael b'bnei Keturah. And he says there that since the b'nei Ishmael were mixed up with the b'nei Keturah, Yischayvu akol b'mila b'shmini ad kan l'shaynei. They all are obligated in circumcision on the 8th day. Even the b'nei Keturah are obligated on the circumcision on the 8th day because they're mixed up with the children of Ishmael. Va'ayin b'shagas aryeh, I think. See the shagas aryeh simin memtes 49, section 49 there. Shehakshal Rambam, that he has a question on the Rambam. It's difficult for him on the Rambam, on Maimonides. Mehad Amar Chachmainu Zechreinu Levracha, that from that which our sages of blessed memory said, Dibas Sancherev Ubalbal Kol Ha'omes V'chule, that Sancherev came and he confused all the nations, he mixed up all the nations, so we don't know which nations, who's from which nation anymore. V'ayin B'dvareinu B'aish Shalem, and see in our words in a complete sign, or in maybe he has a book called Oish Shalem. So see in our words in the book Oish Shalem, Simin Reish Samach Gimel Sivkatan Taf B'divrei Maschal Oidala B'dati V'chule Misham V'hala. So see there, yeah, section 263, subsection 8, in the title header called Oidala B'dati. It also arose in my mind, etc. And from there and onwards. So see there, Mashakasa B'zeh B'arech, what that which is written there in length. V'hine im ye'era kazois, if it'll happen like this, Be'ezeh mishpacha, with some family, Shey Amri Bechsav Yechusin Oishe Yu Muchsakin Shehemi Shiva Amos, that if it'll happen in some family, that they will say in writing, or they'll be associated that they have Yichus lineage, or that they were they have a chazaka. It's established that they are from the 7 nations. Hagam Dilin Nachri Leislei Chayim the Yasaim, that even though the Gentiles don't have this Chaim v'Yasaim, like life and Yasaim, I think. Yasaim is like orphan. Mikol Makam, Regalim Ledavar Hu, they're over Yichus. Even though the Gentile doesn't have life and lineage, they don't have this lineage. Mikol Makam, in any case, Regalim Ledavar Hu, they are accustomed to this thing, the chen hu, that so it is, hagam shenis arvu ben roiv ha'umais, that even though they were mixed up between the many nations, in any case, kivan de ben nachri loy azlinan basar roiv, because in the case of a Gentile, we don't go after the majority, like was written, the great ones from the last generations of blessed memory. Like I wrote there in the book Oy Shalom like this. Then if so, there is to suspect from the doubt, right? We should suspect based on the doubt that there's a mitzvah saseh, or from the mitzvah saseh, the positive commandment from the Torah of hachrem tachrimim. You should surely destroy them. Sheyesh aleinu, that there is upon us this mitzvah. V'safek aseh min Torah. Gamla Dever Rambam, and when you have a doubt of a mitzvah aseh, a positive commandment from the Torah, even according to the opinion, the words of Maimonides, midiyar raisa, from the Torah itself, l'chumra, we go to the chumra. If you have a doubt of a mitzvah aseh, and if it's from the Bible itself, not from the rabbis, we go to the chumra for stringency. Kenoida, as is known, midivrei ha. I don't know who this book is from. The book of the words of this. Tests Vav Dalid V'achroinim, and from the later commentaries Ubedvarenu, and from our words Bekama Duchte in many places V'imke Ein K'moy, I don't know what that means. V'alef Kaf Memlod Loi Shayach Loi Mashiach Mitzvah Saseh B'shvil Zeh Lahar Ges Kol HaUmois B'shvil Shenis Arev Bahem Mishiva Amamin. It's you can't say, it's not possible to say that it's a mitzvah, a positive commandment because of this, to kill all the nations of the world because they have mixed in them the 7 nations, and it's a doubt that we have to go to the side of stringency. He says you can't say that. This is not so. Kivan, since we don't have with the Gentiles this thing called the majority, like we mentioned. And specifically, like Maimonides wrote himself, as mentioned, like we brought earlier, that they were not found in his day. In his day already, he writes, they didn't find the 7 nations. So too he writes in the Laws of Kings, in Parakut Aleph Halacha Ches, chapter 11, Law 8. Mikol Makam, in any case, im ye'era be'ezapam, if it'll happen in any time, sheyeh muchsakin be mem kof aleph kaniskar, if it'll be proven or we have a chazaka in something like we mentioned, we would have to suspect for the mitzvah, the positive mitzvah, the mitzvah saseh of you shall surely destroy them, v'shaper Mina'a Harambam. Mana Harambam. And it was appropriate when Maimonides counted it as a positive mitzvah, even though he said they're not found in his day, but if they would be found, we would kill them, right? Then Shamraya Misham, and there's no proof from there. Mitzvah Yisrael B'Yameinu Klal Kaniskar. And there's no proof from there at all that there's a positive mitzvah today to settle the land of Israel at all, like we mentioned. There's no proof from there. Okay. Wow. This is very, very technical. Very technical. And that which is written there in the Avnei Nezer in letter 7. That he comes to answer the question of the Megillas Esther on Nachmanides. That he holds that the mitzvah of settling the land of Israel is applicable even after the destruction of Jerusalem. Imkain. If so, lama ha'oila mibavel Eretz Yisrael over ba'aseh midechsev bivala yuva'u v'shamayu v'gomer. So if so, how could it be that one who rises up from Babylon to the Holy Land of Israel, how could it be that such a person transgresses the positive commandment from that which is written, that to Babylon I will bring you, and there you should stay, etc. A prophet is not allowed to make up a new thing. So how could it be, if there's a positive mitzvah, even in these days, to settle the land, how could the prophet come and say that we have to stay in Babylon? You can't invent a new thing. V'teretz babnei nezer al pi ma shekasav b'tshuvas harashbash. And Avnei Nezer answers according to what was written in the answers of the Rashbash. Rabbi Shimon bar Shata, I don't know who, The mitzvah hi yeshiva. The mitzvah is the settling. V'haliyah hu rak hachana. And the going up is just the preparation. Ela mitzvah, for the mitzvah. V'hanishba shelo ya'al el Eretz Yisrael. And those that they took the oath and swore that they won't go up to arise to Eretz Yisrael. Lo chashav nishba levatal ha-mitzvah. It's not counted as a swearing to be mivatel, to nullify the commandment. And therefore, when the prophet says that they should not rise up from Babylon, this is not going against the mitzvah, the commandment of the Torah, to settle the land. Because the going up is not a mitzvah. Going up is not a mitzvah. So when he says you can't go up, he's not saying you can't do the mitzvah. The mitzvah was never to go up. There's no mitzvah to go up, according to this. Ki ein haliyah mitzvah klal. V'chala iser shloi la'alais. And the prohibition not to go up is applicable. Ad kan divarei. Until here is his words. End quote. Ubemes ein zeh dimyon klal. And in truth, this is not imagined at all. Le'inyan nishpa levatel es a mitzvah. In the matter of swearing of the oath in order to nullify the mitzvah. Again, there's an oath not to go up, and there's a mitzvah to settle. So we're trying to deal with this contradiction, right? It's not, he says it's not ein zeh dimyon klal le'inyan nishpa levatel es a mitzvah. The paskinan gam b'davar shehi min haTorah, because we rule even with the matter from the Bible. Kegoin ledidan tepaskinan Kirebi Yehuda, maybe, like to us, that we rule like Rabbi Yud. I don't know who the Rabbi Yud is, maybe Rabbi Yehuda. De Choshav, or de something. Asr min haTorah, that he says that it's forbidden from the Torah. Something's forbidden from the Torah. V'afal pikein chalalav shvua kenoida midivrei taisvos shvuos. Daf Chof Gimel Amud Beis. In any case, even though he holds that it's forbidden from the Torah, in any case, it fell upon him this shvuah, this oath, like is known from the words of the Tosafot in Shavuos, Tractate Shavuos, page 23, folio 2, Kivan de'ein aloikin olav, since they didn't whip him, maybe, they didn't hit him, loy mikre mushpa, he's not called an oath, he didn't, someone who took an oath, v'aymed le'inyan hashvuah, and he stands in the matter of the oath, Ayin Sham, see there. Vimkein, and if so, Shapir Kasav HaRashbash, the Rashbash wrote appropriately, he wrote beautifully, Le'inyan Aliyah L'Eretz Yisrael, in regards to going up to Eretz Yisrael, Kiven Te'ena Ikar Mitzvah Raka Yeshiva, because the main mitzvah is only the settling of Israel, not the going up to Israel. Ladas Elu Desfirle, the mitzvah Yeshiva Gambiz Manazeh, to the opinion of those who hold that it's a mitzvah to settle the land even in these days. If so, it's not the matter of the oath like one who swore to nullify the commandment, which is not the case in the matter of that the prophet is not permitted to make up a new thing from now, just make up a new thing. Pasha Tagam Be Tafshun, that also in the, I don't know what this stands for, Sha'asr min haTorah, that it's forbidden from the Torah, im yavai hanavi lahatir, that if a prophet's going to come to make it permissible, bikvios, permanently, einay rashoy, it's not permitted, la yishmo ulay, we shouldn't listen to him. V'raya brura midivrei hashas Megillah, and we have a clear proof from the words of the Talmud in Tractate Megillah, Daf Beis Amud Beis, page 2, folio 2. Man tzipach. Man tzipach. I mean, those are the 5 letters of the alphabet that have another form at the end of a word. I don't know if that's what it's saying here. Man tzipach. Tzoifim amuram uparich hashas. They saw and said and questioned or something, the Gemara, the Tizbara, and can it be, Vaksiv, Eila mitzvah, these are the commandments, that a prophet has no permission to make up something new. Just because he's a prophet, you can't come and make up new stuff. And the letters of Pach, Mem, Nun, Tzadi, Pei, Kaf, Tam, Chadshu, Ein Baisham Psak Halacha. I don't know what he's saying. Something about the Mansapach, like how could you make up new letters maybe? Are you making up new letters? I don't know. They don't have any ruling in law. Umikol Shekain, in any case, She'ena Yisr Lav Sheyesh by Malkos. It's not a forbidden thing, a forbidden lav that has in it Malkos, hitting. And even so, Amrin and Bazeh, we say in this, that the prophet has no permission to make something up from new. And therefore, the Gemara there is forced. It has to answer there. Letaretz mehave have. From have. I don't know what that means. And that we don't know which is from the middle of the word and which is from the end. I'm not following all the way, but it's okay. We're just trying to channel what we can. And also on this we say there's saif. At the end, that these are the commandments that the prophet is not permitted to make up a new thing. See there. This is at the end of a word. Tmunas ois, the picture of the letter. Zeh, this picture of the letter. Oyacheres, or another one. It's certainly not a forbidden punishment, something. And even so, and for sure, we say for sure the prophet has no right to make up new things, and rather it's certainly like we said, which I don't really get what we said, but the point here is that a prophet can't make stuff up. So, if so, also in this, that you're not allowed to arise and go up to Eretz Yisrael, if you're going to say that there's a mitzvah from the Torah, in settling the land, gamata, even in these days, there's a mitzvah. If you want to say that even today there's a mitzvah to go and settle the land of Israel, the prophet is not allowed to change, and to say the opposite. That is, that you shouldn't go up and settle it, which the prophet did say that. Or something. Go. I don't know. Kushas. Something Kushas. Hamagillas Esther. Alephav. She'ein mitzvah b'yeshivas Eretz Yisrael acharei hachorban. There's no mitzvah in settling the land of Israel after the destruction. Alkein hayarashay hanavi lechadesh. Therefore, the prophet was allowed to make new asher bav la yavayu v'chulei. That in Babylon, I'm going to bring you, and there you have to stay. Kaniskar, like we mentioned, v'zeh barer, and this is clear. I think that's what he's saying. All right, what did we learn so far? Because it was very not clear to me. The words were hard. It was very technical. But the main point that he was trying to make, I think, is that you can see clearly there is no commandment in these days to settle the land of Israel. The Zionists say, we're settling the land of Israel. It's the holiest thing, it's the holiest thing. He's saying, no, it's not. There's no such thing. We're in exile after the destruction. There's no mitzvah to settle the land. And one of the proofs, I mean, he went through a lot of different logical analysis that I didn't completely follow, but one of the proofs we see is that a prophet is not allowed to make anything new on his own. He can't just make up Torah. And that if you're going to tell me that the Torah commands us even today to settle the land of Israel, then how can it be that the prophet told us, go to Babylon and stay there? What do you mean stay there? It's a mitzvah to be in Israel. Obviously, it's not a mitzvah to be in Israel, okay? All right, Shuv, Aniti, Bifnim, Bishalas, V'Tshuvas, Harashba, Sham, Siman Aleph. I saw further inside of the questions and answers of this Rabbi Shabash there in section 1. V'lai Kasav Sham, and he didn't write Aliyah Slaretz Yisrael have a rak tafel mitzvah, that going up to Israel is just secondary to the commandment of settling, I think. V'adarab, and on the contrary, Nir lehefech milishaynai. It seems the opposite from his words. Shekasav, that he writes, V'zel shaynai, and this is his wording. V'chein adavar b'aliyah u'b'yishuv, and so is the matter with going up to Israel and settling Israel. Ki ha-mitzvah atzma huwa yeshiva beretz Yisrael. The mitzvah itself is settling the land of Israel. Shehi tadira, which is it's a constant mitzvah. V'siba hakademes hu ha'aliyah, and the reasoning why he precedes the going up to Israel, shemisha chutz la'aretz Yisrael, because someone who is out of the land of Israel, im loy taktim loy ha'aliyah, because if he doesn't proceed to him the mitzvah of going up to Israel, loy yikanes la'aretz v'chulei, he's not going to go up, he's not going to enter into the land, etc. Hare, behold, the spherule that he holds, you can see that he maintains the opinion, the ha'aliyah hu siba kaidemes, that going up to Israel is the cause that precedes it. V'hainu muchaches, and this is proven, ki biyaisei b'chutz la'aretz, that when he is outside of the land of Israel, im loy maktim loy ha'aliyah, if he didn't proceed to him the mitzvah of going up to Israel, loy yikanes la'aretz, he wouldn't enter into the land. V'arei zeh ha'aliyah muchaches bilti efsheres efsheri zulasa, and behold, this going up to Israel is necessity, or proven, it's proven to be impossible without it. You can't go up without it, or something. And against your will, you have to admit, einay tefela rak akaris mitzvah. It's not a secondary, but it's the main thing of the commandment, the going up. Rak achar kach kasav sham, but only after this, though, he writes there, b'tshuvas harashbash, in the answers of this Rabbi Shabash, she'anishba shelo ya'ala l'eretz Yisrael, that took an oath and made an oath that you can't go up to the land of Israel, harei zeh shvua. Someone who makes a shvua and he says he's not going to go up to the land of Israel, behold, it counts as a shvua. Ve'ena nishba levatel, it's a mitzvah, and he didn't. It's not like someone who. It's not considered that he took an oath to nullify the commandment. Ha lama hadavar daim lema hadavar daima. Behold, what is it comparable to? This matter is comparable to shenishba shaloi lolush hamatza oiloi ye'afa isa. To someone who takes an oath that he won't, make the matzah wet, to the flatbread wet, or that he won't cook it, or something, or it's similar to lemish nishba shelo ya'aseh sukkah, to someone who makes an oath that he won't make himself a sukkah, sheshvuasei shvua, that his oath is considered an oath. Lachein, I think, therefore, she'ein asiyas mitzvah, v'asiyas sukkah. So you see that the making hamatzah, we could see therefore that the making of the matzah and the making of the sukkah, it's not a mitzvah, ela hechsher mitzvah. It's only the preparation for the mitzvah. The siba makdemes mitzvah, and it's the cause that precedes the mitzvah. Ad kan l'shani harashbash l'chon l'vracha. Until now, the end quote from the words of the Rabbi Shabash, a blessed memory. V'dvarav tzarich ian gadol, and his words need great analysis. De'ein zeh doimeh, because this is not similar. Kifi hasagasenu, according to our grasp, he says it's not similar. L'mi shenishba shaloi lolish v'lo yafa es hamatzah, to someone who swears that he's not going to not make wet, but knead and he's not going to bake the matzah, or that he's not going to make himself a sukkah. Daha yuchal lekayim mitzvah achilas matzah b'leil aleph or yeshivas sukkah gam im yasa acher sukkah. Because he's able to fulfill the mitzvah of eating the matzah on the first night, or to sit in the sukkah. Also, if someone else makes the sukkah, or if someone else needs and bakes the matzah. So in those cases, even if he swears not to make a sukkah or make the matzah, he can still fulfill the mitzvah. Because he can't forbid another person with his oath that they can't make the matzah, or, and automatically, if someone else baked the matzah, he's able to eat it. And to fulfill the mitzvah, bizmana, in its proper time. And also, when someone else made a sukkah, he's able to sit in it in their domain, with their permission. And he's able to fulfill the commandment. Which is not the case with someone who makes an oath not to go up to Israel. Behold, he's not able to fulfill the mitzvah of settling the land of Israel. According to the opinion of those that say it is a mitzvah even today. Because you can't fulfill the mitzvah of settling the land without going up to the land. If he is now out of the land of Israel. In any case, according to our words, this is not a contradiction. Because even if you say like the Rabbi Shabash, the chala hashavua, that the oath takes effect, when he takes an oath not to go up to Israel, that is because it also applies on the person that cheshin, I don't know what that means, that she'asr min haTorah kaniskarlel, that it's forbidden from the Torah, from the Bible, like mentioned earlier. Which is not the case in the matter of where prophet is not permitted to make up a new thing. Rather, certainly it's like our words that were mentioned. I didn't follow exactly, but it's okay. Try to get a little bit more. I'm really running out of energy here. And that which is written there in Avnei Nezer, letter 18, section 18. And this is his words. Me'ata im yidor adam beretz Yisrael. Ve'en lo shum matzav parnasa. Rak han shalas loy michutz laretz. Hanishlach loy mechutz laretz. V'adayin hashpa'as mizainoisav al yedei hashar shemichutz laretz. Now, if a person will live in the land of Israel and he doesn't have a situation of sustenance, of making money, rather they send to him from out of Israel, and he's still getting his influence of his bread, he's still getting his abundance, his food, on the hand of the prince or the people, the rest of that are outside of the land. What is in this, the settling of the land of Israel, etc., until there are his words. Okay. V'nivhalti mi shataimim v'yeshtaimim, and I was bewildered, or something. Kol over. V'nivhalti mishtaimim, and I was bewildered and like more bewildered. V'yeshtaimim kol over, and anyone who reads this is going to be bewildered, I think. Kimi lo yada me'agzeros v'trumos she'asu rabbeinu hakadoshim harishonim kimalachim hema ha Beis Yosef va'alshich zechus hayogan aleinu. Because who doesn't know about the decrees and the donations that they made, our holy rabbis, the first ones, like kings they were, the Beit Yosef and the Alshich of their merit should protect in us. Ki kol ma min nedavin bechutz laretz le bahar, that anyone who donates in outside of the land of Israel, le reish mem beis hey, no, I don't know what that means. Afilu la'adlakas neres, even for donating the lighting of the candles, Yishlchu Akol Eretz HaKodesh. He should send all his donations to the Holy Land of Israel. Kadeshi Yischaziku Aniye Hakolalim Hayoishvim Ala Torah Va'avoda Beretz HaKodesh. In order to strengthen the poor ones, the paupers that are included in the settlers, or that settle the Torah, they sit and dwell in the Torah and the service in the Holy Land. And we should support them from the money of the charity boxes. Reish Mem Beis Heinu, I don't know what that means. Michutz La'aretz, from outside of the land of Israel, Kanoid, as is known, Zeh Barucha, like is known this in length, V'nitfas B'Sefer Maginei Eretz Yisrael. It was printed in the book called The Protectors of Israel, B'Tshuvos Rabbeinu Achronim, in the answers of our rabbis, the later ones, Shebegoyla, that were in the exile, Zechronim Levracha, blessed memory, Hagoyin HaKadosh Mi Barditchuv, the holy genius from Barditchuv, Zechusay Hagan Aleini, his merit should protect on us, Tahagoinim, Meharav Chaim Vilazhin, Vibrisk, Delita, Zecher Tzadik L'Kodosh. And the great ones from Rabbi Chaim Vilazhin and Brisk and Lita, Lithuania, of blessed memory. V'oid Harbe, and many more Ga'onim Eretz, geniuses of the land. V'chein Harbe me Rabbi Senu mitalmidei Abesh, HaKadosh Zechusei Agenu Aleinu. And so too many of our rabbis from the students of the Baal Shem Tov, that is holy, blessed memory, his merit should protect us. I think they signed it. We have more answers from the greater of the last ones. According to their words, after their words. To fill up and to strengthen and to sustain. And the famous Ein Tzarech Raya. We don't need a proof or something. Umi Talmud Chacham or something. B'chol HaMedina is befrat migdolei Adar shelo yada mizeh. And someone from the Torah scholars in all the countries, especially from the great ones of the generations, that doesn't know from this. Verisi binyane shehitfis admarinu rabbeinu hakadosh mishinava zechusei hagan aleinu michtav kol kairei. He wrote kol kairei. That's when they make an announcement. Al divrei hischak sus hakoilel Rabbi Meir Bal Hanes zechusei hagan aleinu. That he to strengthen the kollel of Rabbi Meir Bal Hanes in Tveria, I think. Because of Shaman, he writes there, B'Shem Hagoyin HaKadosh Me'apta Meshbit Zechusei Hagan Aleinu. When he writes from the rabbis of Apt and Meshbit, their merit should protect us. His merit should protect us. The Baal Oyev Yisrael, the Oyev Yisrael, he writes in his name, Ki yochlu leida kama chele koyach haneshama. Are you able to know how is the portion of strength, haneshama, of the soul, maybe, hainu chelek hakadosha shebenafshay, that is the holy portion of his nefesh, of his soul, sheyeshlei, that he has to him. Zehu, this is ad kama sheyargish benafshay, so much until he feels in his soul, v'yaseh b'tzedakos Rabbi Meir Bal Hanes, and he will make in the charities of Rabbi Meir Bal Hanes, B'aniyei Eretz HaKodesh Ad Kan Devar HaKadoshim, so that he will give to the holy ones of the paupers of the holy land, until here are his holy words. Okay, that was very technical and long, but I think he was trying to say something about the importance of supporting the paupers in Israel. V'im kain, and if so, Eich nucha lahamin sheyatzu chas v'shalom dvarim zarim ki'ilu negda mipi oikana kalmasai shel hagoyin hakadosh shemechaber avnei nezer zechron levracha. If so, how is it possible? How are you possible to believe that he left, God forbid, the words foreign, as if they are going against from the mouth or the tip of the pen of the great genius, the holy genius, the author of the Avnei Nezer, of blessed memory. Elevada kinira behashara, but rather it's certainly like it seems. Shehu ba'Avnei Nezer, that it is in the Avnei Nezer kitshuva zeh, because this answer nimtza nairais mifuredois. It's found in many separate papers, bin aksavim, between the writings, v'chulei, etc., chulei, etc. V'nikbetzu v'nitztarfu l'tshuvas achas ad kan l'shanin. They were gathered and combined to one answer until here are the words that he's quoting. B'sayfai mechiach, and the end proves al tchilas, in the beginning. Kigam betchila, that even in the beginning, that also in the beginning, atshuva taf nun daled mikoidem. The answer from earlier. Shaltu ba yedei acherem. They took control in it, other people. Bishinoi halashan vadvarim, and they changed the wording and the text. Beis hadfasu, at the time that it was printed. Bitziruf velikot nifsarim, with combining and gathering together scattered stuff. Visha mechaber ba'atzmai loy Chibroi, Shiu Yachtov, Toyamim. And the compiler, or the author himself, didn't compile them that they should be together like twins or something. V'ulai nishar oid nair mefuzar ben aksavim. And maybe it remains more papers scattered between the writings. Shehu ba'atzmai dacha harayan b'lashon chachamim. That he himself pushes the idea, or pushes away the idea in the words of the sages, Vaya Hatov Vashem Hatov Yichaper, and Hashem that is good, he will atone. I didn't really get it, but he's saying something. He was trying to prove somehow that someone messed around with some writings, and you can't bring a proof from there, or something like that. Very, very technical. This is my first time learning this. Okay, Void Hevisham Ba'is and Iskar, and he also brings there in the mentioned portion, B'Shem Al-Shech, in the name of the Al-Shech, Alak Kasiv, on the verse, V'nasan li lechem le'echol v'gomer, and you gave to me bread to eat, etc. Shelo yiyeh parnasasai be'emtzois hasar v'chulei, that it shouldn't be his bread, his sustenance, his income shouldn't be through the means of the sar, etc. V'aycha makdamais v'drushim kulam rak lahachlish, and more their introductions and expoundations, all of them, they're only to make weak, chas v'shalom, heaven forbid, koyach yedei oisim umasim miram bahar. Marinu Rabbi Moshe, I don't know. Only to make weak, in heaven forbid, the hand, the strength of the hand of those that are doing and making something, that they're sending from outside the land of Israel to the Holy Land. And that which is written in the introduction in the name of the Al-Shech, his memory should protect us. Amarti hagam v'chuli, I said also, etc. Haloi ha'al-Shech hakadosh ba'atzmai b'tzirf maran ha'beis Yosef hagayin hakadosh zechusei yagen aleinu. Is it not the Al-Shech, the holy Al-Shech himself, in combination with the Beis Yosef, the genius and holy, their merit protect us? Udeime gazru, and with him they decreed, v'tiknu, and they set up, mem resh mem beis henun. It's some kind of charity, I think. I don't know. L'shloyach michutz l'eretz rak l'eretz hakodesh kanal, to send from the outside of the land of Israel. Only send their charity money. Only send it to the Holy Land, like we mentioned. But they're using his words, his holy words of blessed memory, against his das, they're using his words against him. They're changing it. U'mitzvaisai v'tiknasai kaniskar, and his mitzvah and his takana that he set up, like that was mentioned, v'tamhan. I don't know what that means. Im yatse kol advar mipigain v'gadol atzadik bal avnei nezer zechon levracha. I think he's saying it's a wonder how all these words can come out of the great and genius saint, the Baal Avnei Nezer of blessed memory. I'm definitely misunderstanding something here, but saying someone messed around with some kind of rabbi's words. They used the holy words for purposes other than what the author intended, and they mixed stuff up. Ubiyaser, and more than this, Shenasa Mizeh, they made from this biyamenu in our days, Laseis Yad, to give a hand, Lepoishim Chas v'Shalom, to the sinners, heaven forbid. Ke'en Lachkois De'es Haminim, like something at the time of the heretics. Hema HaTzionim, they are the Tzionim. The heretics are the Zionists. Asher gam hagoyin atzadik bal avnei nezer v'imay kol goyim v'tzadiki dari zechonim levracha nilchamu im atzionim hakoy from elu. Also, that the genius and the righteous, the master of the Avnei Nezer, and with him all the genius and saints of his generation of blessed memory, they fought with the Zionists, the heretics, these heretic Zionists. Asher machrivim, that they destroyed the Memresh Mem Beis Heinun. It's an acronym for something. Let's look it up. Memresh Mem Beis Heinun. Rebbe Meir Bal Hanes. Okay, Rebbe Meir Bal Hanes. Asher machrivim Rebbe Meir Bal Hanes, that they were destroying this Rabbi Meir Bal Hanes charity, I guess, or something. V'chol magmasam rak la'avodas hasadeh be'eretz hakodesh, and all of their goal was only for the service of the fields in the Holy Land. Liknois, to buy them, ulahamid, kalinas, kefi devreim, and to stand a kalinas, I don't know what that is, according to their words. So they wanted to destroy the charity of Rabbi Meir Bal Hanes, who was giving money to the poor people that were holy in the Holy Land. The secular Zionists, the heretic Zionists, they just wanted to buy the land, buy the fields. They wanted to work the fields. Valkain, Tafel, Torah, V'emuna, Bein Eretz, Ubein B'chol. And through this, something happened with the Torah and the faith, whether in Eretz, in the Holy Land or in outside of the Holy Land. Ubifrat, Emunas, Big Shava, Shehu Meha, Yud Gimel, Ikarim, Be'achkal Loi, Be'chein Yom Shiva, Seva. And specifically the faith of Big Tzava, some person, Big Tzava, that he was from the 13 main people or something, maybe, of something to him at the day of his, I don't know, the Agudistan Himadimim Lahem, the Agudistan, Aguda. Aguda is like a Jewish political group. The Agudistim, the people from Aguda, they're similar to them in this. V'aid guruim mehem, and they're even worse than them. Liyaisan tzivuim, because they are tzavua. I don't know what that means. When our sages of the blessed memory said, Besoita, in the Talmud tractate Soita, Shetit b'yaiser min atzivuim shemar matzmam kiprushim, that you have to be even more afraid of the tzivuim because they make themselves look like the Perushim. So these Agudistim, they're the religious Zionists. They're even worse than the heretic Zionists, because you have to be more afraid of the ones that make themselves look like the Perushim, but they're really not. They're the tzivuim. Bechinas Oilas Tamid. Bechibor Oilas Tamid. And like I wrote in length in the book called Oilas Tamid, Al Mispar Tamid Ein Sham. So Oilas Tamid, that's a good book we should check out also. Okay, Ukasher Shina Vishila Sham Betshuvas Avnei Nezer Oid Bazeh Samach Beis through Aleph or something. B'divrei Maschil Kitzei Divrei Anal. Ikar Mitzvahs Yeshivas Eretz Yisrael U B'yois Slai Parnasa Mirevach Eretz Yisrael. אבל אם נשלח לו מאוס מחוץ לארץ במתנה מאנשי חוץ לארץ לעניית דייתי אין זה עיקר מצוות ישיבת ארץ ישראל בשלמות. Saying if you read the Avnei Nezer there, the mitzvah of settling the land of Israel is not to get money from outside the land of Israel, but rather to make your own money here. Otherwise, you're not settling the land in completion. And we call Makayim hu mekayim mitzvah yeshivat Eretz Yisrael. But in any case, you still get the mitzvah of settling the land of Israel. Ad kan l'shaynoi umyad acher zeh sham oy space chaf v'zel l'shaynoi. This is quote. Kshani la'atzmi haya nearly ki ein mitzvah yeshivat Eretz Yisrael rak beish tzadik. He says, he's quoting from the Avnei Nezer, I think he says, I mean myself, it appears to me that there's no mitzvah in settling the land of Israel unless it's a man who's a tzaddik, a saint. Shemaya kol Yisrael kamaisai haya nige'elim v'chulei ad kan l'shaynoi v'hani mile sasraininu. I think he's saying, and these words contradict each other, I think. Reishis eich shayach leimer the mitzvah yeshivas Eretz Yisrael rak b'yois le'parnasa Yisrael. First of all, how can you say that the commandment to settle the land of Israel is only when you make your how is it possible that Hashem could command mitzvah sharloi b'ha'adam b'didei toloi, that it's not dependent on him? How could Hashem give you a mitzvah? It's not dependent on you. Im yaloi parnasam Eretz Yisrael sham v'im yagia loi, that if he's going to have sustenance from the land itself, and if it's going to reach his own money, that's not up to him. Kidei mechaisu parnasasai michyasai v'parnasasai, so that his food and his livelihood, v'asher inyanai royais, and the kiharbe meha kalanian sham tzrichin sa'id meha midim aisam tabris oy gabirim minadvim kimay Rothschild v'darmalai. They all need Rothschild and people like him to sustain them from outside the land. So you see, it's not really, you can't really come and how could you say it's only a mitzvah to sustain yourself in the land and not be sustained by others? How could it be that Hashem commands you to be in the land, but only if you're sustained in the land and they couldn't make it? So it's not dependent on the person to be sustained here or not. Michutz la'aretz, from outside of Israel, v'zula zeh, and without this, lo yaspik lahem me'atzmam be'eretz Yisrael, for them what they have on themselves in the Holy Land of Israel. Gam im ya'avdu avodas ha'adama, even if they work the land. Kumay achrei haaretz, like the achrei of the land. V'aksais hu haraya shalahem hainu shal yitzram ubaldavar or something, ashagavar rachman el-san. It's all the Satan that conquers them. Having the compassionate one should save them. Ki yatsu meha me'oina v'das roibam kikulam. I don't know. I'm not understanding this, but he's definitely talking about the Zionists and Rothschild and people giving money to Israel. He's definitely talking about our topic. How can you say that this is the commandment of the Torah? That he's establishing the commandment of settling the land of Israel, but only in a way that only in a way that it'll bring to him sustenance from the land of there. Disham umayasa ha'itza'a yisera al hashavas al hashabis v'haye amar mile ditmua Ke'eli. V'chi HaKadosh Chuba B'Tarunya Chas V'Shalom Rak Beis Tzadik. That's only applicable to all Yisrael Haya Kamaisai Haya Nigalim. Only someone who can settle the land for him, someone who's so righteous that if all of Israel was like him, we would be redeemed. Only such a person who's that righteous, only he has the mitzvah to settle land. He says that close by. He says, I don't know what that means. Memnun. B'mi Mairi. Who's it talking about? Bizet im beish amaretz achar v'kfare. If it's a man who's doesn't know Torah and he's disgusting and I think. Halay eich shaykh leimer. What, you're going to say if everyone was like him, not knowing Torah, we would be redeemed? What's the Torah going to be upon him? Our rabbis, the blessed memory, said, Bava Basra, in Tractate Bava Basra, al Kasiv, on the Pasuk, Ki Yitnam Begoyim, Ki Yitnam Begoyim, I think, Ata Ekpatsam, that he gave them in the nations, and now he's going to gather them. She'ein agula rak b'schos limud Torah. That the redemption's only going to come in the merit of studying Torah. Ve'ech ya'amru lehefech midivrei chachmenu zechron levrachas. How could you say the opposite of that? Ve'mayri b'mi shahaya b'chutz laaretz ben Torah. And if it's talking about someone who's outside the land of Israel and he studies Torah, Isaac, and he involves himself in the Torah, Ubal Eretz Yisrael, and he comes to the holy land of Israel, Liyos. To be like one of them, these chalutzim, that they took off from themselves the yoke of the kingship of heaven. Uparish min limud Torah, so that he separates himself from studying Torah. Liyos achar haaretz, to be like a achar of the land. V'oived adaman, to work the land. V'alei amar chachmenu zechron levracha beperek chelek kulai kol hakitzin. The rabbis said in Perek HaChelek that all the end times already passed. They were fin. All the end times, we already reached the end times. All the different times of redemption, they already came, and it's not dependent on anything at this point. The redemption is already supposed to be here, but it's just waiting on one thing, and what's that? It's waiting on the teshuvah, repentance. Pasach in a Rambam, and the Rambam Maimonides actually rules this way. B'Hilchos Tshuva, Perek Zayin, Halacha Hey. In the laws of repentance, chapter 7, section 5, law 5. She'en Yisrael Teshuvah, that Israel will not be redeemed unless it's through repentance. V'chivan she'en oisin Teshuvah, and once they do Teshuvah, since they do Teshuvah, b'saif galaisan miyad negalin. At the end of their exile, they will immediately be redeemed. Ve'ezay tshuvahu shepirish milimad Torah liyos charish b'shas charisha v'zarei b'shas riyah. And what kind of repentance is this, that you're going to stop learning Torah so that you can plow in the time of plowing and seed, and then planting in the time of planting, l'davek b'avodas ha'adama, and to cleave to the work of the land, the gashmias, the physicality. And on this you're going to say, heaven forbid, that all of Israel is going to be like this guy, that that they're going to be redeemed. If everyone's going to be a farmer and give up on the Torah, then we're going to be redeemed. Bal Korchoy or Elke, no, there's going to be his sustenance is going to be from work land. Me avodas ha'adama ahu kaniskirlel. Fa'ish ke'av matme yaiser mizev ukehai damar chachmenu zechron levracha sha'amru l'satan kabe'iyov, that he said to the Satan in regards to Job, K'may shavur es hachaviyos v'shamur yena, like breaking the barrel and guarding the wine. It's wine. K'may sheyuchal yos pasik reshe, that it's able to be a psik reshe, sheyifsoik roishe, that it's gonna miasoik batara, that he's gonna pause his head from involving in Torah. V'lo yamos, and he's not gonna die. Bitvale shaol ava, with something of she'ol, and sin, hell and sin. V'te asoyavav rishaim nityahem kruim b'chayehem kruim mesim kishamru charzanu chachmenu zechon lavracha. The wicked ones, even in their lifetime, they're called dead. Ve'ein me'atzerach kol kach laharich b'hatza'as devarav mashakvar hasigu alav b'siman hanizker sham b'avnei nezer de'ech shaykh loimer sheyomer al nafshoy tzadik ani v'ro'yu la'alois. Because how is it possible to say on himself, I'm a tzaddik, v'ro'yu la'alois l'eretz HaKadosh, and it's appropriate for me to go up to the Holy Land, v'lavar ad masa, and I shall work its land, shezeu echad mitana'av hame'akvim b'yeshivas Eretz Yisrael kanal. Because if he doesn't know in his nefesh that he's going to sin again, any tzaddik can mevor b'chol sifrei rishonim zal. They're making confusions. Many are making mistakes. They're mixing piety and Zionism. And in truth, they destroy completely this one to this one. Even someone who is tafel to a tzaddik, bekalinan she'em kol ha'olam hayu kamayu hayu nigalim kefi anir pshutai gam im yase kol averei shebetar imhu rak nitfal mechuber letzaddik harizet tzaddik yisayid olam hem nuchal ve Hayim mutar lahamin v'loimer sheyatzu devarim ke'elu mipigayin v'gadol meforsam b'tzkasa. He's saying they're misquoting people. They're claiming that as long as they're connected to a righteous saint, they can do whatever they want. They can do all the sins, and they can go up to the land of Israel and be farmers, and that's holy. And that is Zionism. Zionism is saying we don't need the Torah. We're pretty much like Christians. We're pretty much like Sabbatarians. We don't need Torah. We connect to the Holy Land, and that's all we need. And he's saying, how can you claim that such a holy person said such things? Obviously, it's false. He never said such things. And these people are trying to connect Hasidut with Zionism, and he says there are two separate things. They destroy each other. Zionism destroys Hasidut. Hasidut destroys Zionism. Keep them away from each other. I mean, obviously, you can see I didn't really follow along. I couldn't even read the text so clearly. The letters are hard to see in this font and this edition. And not only that, I didn't understand a lot of the words, and even the words I understood, I didn't understand the phrases and the ideas. But we can definitely see that he has very, very staunch anti-Zionist views, very much. V'asker oid al mashikasav sham v'kafal devarav b'tshuvasav b'zed de'im yesh lo yachuzas sada Eretz Yisrael. I'm going to mention also that which is written there, and he repeats his word in his answers there, in this, that if someone has a field, he owns a field in Israel, gam sheyusha b'chutz la'aretz, even if he's dwelling in Israel, im yesh lo parnasa meha achuza hazois be'eretz hakodesh, if he gets his sustenance, his income from this property that he owns in Israel, gam ke nechshav b'chlal mitzvahs yeshivas Eretz Yisrael, it's also considered like the commandment of settling the land of Israel. And he says, behold, it's explicitly the opposite in the answers of the earlier commentaries. That he is, like we mentioned, an opinion that is holding on to the settlement of the land of Israel even in our exile. And this is his words in the middle of the answer there. All the time that he finds food and dwelling or something, timtza yeshiva, you'll find the settling. And it's possible that it will be to a person there in Israel gardens and orchards and houses, and they will be the reasoning of the settlement. And he doesn't even live there. Adkan, alkein, ayishuv yeshiva. Therefore, you see the settling is not the settling, etc. Ad kan l'shayne arishbash l'chorne levracha and sham harei desfirle the yeshiva Eretz Yisrael ein mekayim hayoshev b'chul. That settling the land of Israel is not fulfilled by one who dwells outside of Israel. Gam kishiyesh le'Eretz Yisrael ganis u'pardesim kanizker. He says it comes up from his words. It doesn't matter. Even if you have fields and orchards and homes in Israel, if you're not living here, you cannot fulfill the obligation of living here. V'hinei navai bazel l'divrei zaken arishayim zechornu l'vracha asher mipia manu chaim rabbeinu marinu haram meirot nova b'tshavatz katan I don't know simin tovkos non-tes b'tashpatz katan be'inyan mitzvahs l'lechas l'Eretz Yisrael, in regards to the matter of the commandment to go to Israel, b'zel la'shaynoi, and this is his words, ulbilvad sheyeya Porosh mikan ulahala vizar mikol mine oven, as long as he will be separated from here and from there, and he will be careful and protect him, like stay away from all all kinds of sin. Vikayim kol mitzvos hanoi heges ba, and he will fulfill all the commandments that are applicable in it. Shem yechta ba, because if he's going to sin there in Israel, Yana Shaiser. He's going to get punished worse on the sins he does in Israel than the sins he would have done outside of Israel. Because the land is going to, or a shamber, the land is going to take revenge on him. It's going to seek on him. Constantly, the eyes of the land are in it, or something. Hashem's hashkacha, watching over, and is in it tamid. And you can't compare someone who rebels against the kingship in the palace, to someone who rebels outside the palace. And the land, behold, its inhabitants, its settlers, etc. And those that go there, and they want to act there with lightheadedness. Pach zusam lehiskoitet sham kaira ani aleim. He says, I'm calling upon them. V'tavayu v'titma'u es artse umi bikei shois miyadchem ramam chetzre v'chule arkan l'shaynai hatashpatz. End quote from Tashpatz. Okay. Umi hu asher yara devarim kedoshim ki'ilu be'esh Hashem yatzu mipigain gadol. Roy Sharishainim Ma'aram Mirottenberg Zechon Levracha B'Kedusha V'Tara V'Lo Yechrad Libai, and he's not going to be fearful in his heart. Leilech B'Derech HaTzianstin, the Tzionim, the Zionists, by domain are similar to them. Hagudistim, the Aguda, the religious Zionists, Yoish Bistin, these other groups. V'Chol Shum. They have a common denominator. They don't have the living spirit of the Holy Torah, the Hamuna Kadosha, and the Holy Faith. Beis Yud Aleph Gimel Tzadi Beis. I don't know what these things mean. V'gam Noida Mashakasav Gadol Achronim Agoyim Marenu Harav Yoinus Zechon Levracha B'Sefer Ahavas Yoinus Be'aftaris ve'eschanon ve'zel l'shaynai. This is his words. Hachnasas Yisrael tzaycha ba'ela u'b'shvua im ta'iru v'im ta'iru. If you're going to awaken, if you awaken, esa'ava, the love, the gomer, etc., right? Be'im shakol naido yachtav leilech l'Yerushalayim v'kol umais maskimam afilu hachi tzavcha shechalila shetelech shama. He says, he's quoting from this book, Ahavas Yonasan, that even if it's made known to us all together to go to Jerusalem, we all agree to go to Jerusalem, and all the nations agree. Even so, he's screaming, I think, that heaven forbid that you should go there. Sha'aked sasam, because the end time is closed. Ulai ein ata azman, and maybe now is not the time. Hamiti, the true time. Rakes ratza lefi sha'a, but it's just an appropriate time according to that time. V'hayayim machar yechta'u, and today or tomorrow we're going to sin. Umuchrachim legalais pam sheinis shanim, and then we're gonna be required to go into exile again. Shanim, years, v'achroin, kasha min harishain, and the last one's gonna be more difficult than the first one. V'lechein biksha, and therefore he requested shalo yelchu ad shetechpatz. And therefore he said, don't go until it bursts forth. Ratzleimer ad sheyagia hazman, and what does that mean? It meaning to say, don't go until it reaches the time. V'yimale kol haaretz de'ah v'chulei. Until that time when all the land will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem. Ad kan l'shaynai hagoyin anisker. You can see, even though I'm not properly understanding and giving over all the information, you can see clearly that the holy rabbis were very, very anti-Zionist, very anti even the Aguda. Aguda people know about today. Aguda. Most Orthodox Jews today have some association with Aguda, whether it's in America, whether it's in Israel. And why I'm reading you this is to see that literally 99% or more of the Jews today have fallen to Zionism. They don't even admit it. They claim not to be Zionists, but they have association with Aguda. And Aguda, you see, is a Zionist movement, even worse than the Zionists, because they claim to be Perushim when they're really not. So I'm just showing you this to say, like, people show me rabbis today, and I'm telling you, all these rabbis are false. They're Erev rabbis. They're not real rabbis. They're Erev rabbis. They're Amalekites. They're all Zionists, and they're all Sabbateans, Shabtai Tzvi, all of them. Every single rabbi today pretty much is a Sabbatean. Whether or not they want to admit it, whether or not you can prove the money comes from there. Anyone who's connected to Aguda, anyone who's connected to Zionism, they're all Sabbateans. Umayata, and from now, I don't know what this acronym is, Aleph Ches Beis Yud, Hayiraim, Hayud Vav, Simu Liv Vavchem, pay attention, L'chol Advar Melu, to all these words, Ki Loi Davar Hu, because it's not a thing or something, Ki Hu Leman Chayenu Ve'emunasenu. Because it's not a plague that's going to kill us, because it's for the sake of making us alive, for our life and for our faith. Vedas Torasenu, knowledge of our Torah. Anu, Banenu, Bnei Benenu, us and our children and our children's children. Tarchiku b'chol minei oifen, distance yourself in every which way. Eskol hakitoy sa'elu, all these groups me'anal that we mentioned. Harochoik kim matchoik kashas, like the distance of something, of a bow or something. Leval tiplu bareshes, not to fall into their something. Kihema be'emes machri be'eretz, because they are in truth destroying the land. Ume'akve ha'geula b'avaydisenu ha'rabim, and they are delaying the redemption with our great sins. Vezharu b'takones rabbeisenu v'avaysenu, and they warned with declarations, our rabbis and our fathers. Eila demeir inyana ulahar bois benusina smois Rabbi Meir Balanes chusei agin alenu. Something about illuminating the eyes and to increase and giving charity to Rabbi Meir Balanes, a blessed memory. His merit should protect on us. And in his merit, we will merit the salvation and redemption. From within those of faith, a nation of treasure. On the hand, the coming of David, Messiah, of the son of David, Messiah, or our righteous one, quickly in our days. Amen. V'hinei achrei kasvuzai zman rav adayin lo yatsa milibe haloi tikshi kosha gedola ki haloi shas mefurish begitin. And after I wrote this a long time, I still didn't come out of my heart. It's quite this question, a great question, isn't it a great question? Doesn't it say explicitly in the Gemara in Talmud Tractate Gittin on Daf Chesamid Beis, La Koina Sarda Beretz Yisrael, that one who buys a field in Israel, afilu b'Syria, even if he's in Syria, or even if he's buying it in Syria, Kois Syria, Kois vin alav aynay afilu b'Shabbos. He can write. They write for him. Maybe a contract. I don't know. Maybe not a contract. Maybe they write something on him, even on Shabbat. Al Yidei Nachri, the guy writes it. Mishum Yishuv Eretz Yisrael la Gazru Shavos, because on the settlement of Israel they didn't decree Shavos is like a desisting action. V'cheinu b'Vavakama, and so too in Tractate Bavakama, Daf Pei Amid Beis. V'chein Pasuk Haram, so too rules the Ram Maimonides Be'ilchas Shabbos in laws of Shabbos, Parak Vav Halacha Yud Aleph. Vim Ken Divrei Rabbeinu Arambam Sisrei Adhadi. And if so, the Maimonides contradicted each other himself with his words. Da'acha Pasuk de Kois V'Nois Oinoi Ayidei Nachri Mishom Yishav Eretz Yisrael. Because here he rules that we write it, an oin, I don't know what an oin is, on the hands of a goy. We make the goy write it because of the settlement of the land of Israel. Ubal karcha to have a mitzvah, and you have to admit against your will that it's a commandment. Mitzvah like mishum shvos, and the place of a mitzvah, the rabbis didn't make a decree against writing or shvos, of desisting or something. Shvos. V'hasam loy chashav klal yishav Eretz Yisrael ben mitzvahs bizmanenu v'achrei achorban. But there, he didn't count settling the land of Israel as a mitzvah, whether in our time or in our time after the destruction. V'kvar nisayir al zeh hagoyin hanifla marenu Yosef Rajan nun yud mi Dinaburg be'echad or bechiburav ve'niach b'tei malaram zechon levracha, and he left it in a question, a wonderment. To have a Tahani mili sisrei nenu kanisker, because they contradict each other. V'hinei sham begitin amrinan dafilu b'surya koisvin ay al yedei nachri afilu b'shabes vayin be shochar achil Shabbos min shin vav seimin or seif yud aleph dehevi Rabbeinu Harama b'shem aleph vav zayin. The kois v'in ashtar rak nichtav shalahem b'Shabbos. V'hainu kinira kishitas dichtav gol chois einoi midiyar reis le'eza deois kinoida meha tashbats. Aleph kuf memlad mid. V'gam nasel yedei nachri shehu gam kein rak shvus. You write it through a goy, and that's only a shvus that you're not allowed to write it through a goy. Have a kemoi trei derabanan, so it's not like you have two derabanans, two mitzvahs derabanans. Ve Aleph Kuf Mem Lamed. Ulinian Surya, in regards to Syria, Ein Sham be Magen Avram Sifkat on Chaf. Mikol Makom Kasha Lechayra Al Rabbeinu Rambam Kanisker. And anyway, we still have a question on the Maimonides. However, nearly Anias Daiti, it seems, to my opinion, Leishev Liyashev Beretz be Ayin Heyod B'Toiv Tam L'chui Mer Anoy said Yesh L'Chelek Bazeh Di B'Yamem Samach Achar Chorban Da Amru B'Megillah. Daf Yud Aleph Amud Aleph. Daf Yud Amud Aleph. Shamati Shemakrivin Afal Pi She'ein Bias V'Hainu K'may Sheniskar Apil Pul B'She'elis V'Tshuvos Ha Rebbe Ayin Aleph Ube Ches Mem Zchoni Levracha L'Inyan Kuf Pei Bizman Hazeh Im Yasigu Rishus Lahakriv B'Har Abayis Malkam HaKadosh V'Shaper Ha'ala v'ha'arich neged zeh v'sider b'seder avoida tema ayin shamu b'frat b'shar tuma b'tzibor she'anachnu kulanu timei mesim v'gam b'tumas meis b'chol ha'tzibor tzrichin ritzoi tzitz v'kivan she'ein tzitz v'klei ha'kodesh Bavasenu harabim bizman hazeh b'yameinu al kain efshar lahakriv sham terem big sabab. I don't know what that is. V'nei b'yimeihem zman hatanoim v'amayrehem hayo lahem efer para ukadisa b'tois sefta para pek gimel maasim elu asu kisha'alu min hagoy lev'chule Ephron Yardai Mahem Levavel Ayin Sham Ayin B'Shelis V'Tshuvos She'elas Yavitz Chelik Aleph Simin Peites Hatanayim V'Marayim Hayalehem Efer Para. They had the paraduma, the ashes. Kedamrina and Chagiga Chafei Amar Aleph Chavraya Midikan Bigalela Ayin Shamu. Ve'emesehu Mivur Oid B'Mishnah Lamelech Per Gimel Me Hilchos Evel. Ha'chiach Mehad Chavraya Midikan Bigalela Hainu B'Shas Nida Perikov Perkama Daf Vav V'Sham Uchach De Ha'amayraim Hayalahem Efer Para Ayin Sham Ukanaida B'Ha Arizal B'Kisve Arizal Ki Alkein Hizir Harizal Shaloi Leishtamesh B'Shemesh HaKabbalah Ma'asiyos Kivin She'en Lanu Efer Para B'Zmanenu Lehitar Usha Ani V'Shani Arishonim B'Zman HaTalmud Shayalahem Oid Efer Para B'Tznios L'Mishmeres Eitzel Yechidei Segula V'Chulei Ukanaida. So they had the ashes of the Paraduma and they were hiding it amongst themselves. Kivin Shayu Yechaylon Yitar Al Yidei Efer Para Shapir Amru Chachmenu Zechon Levracha Kanal Shemakrivin Oz Kishasigu Rishus Alzman Ma. When they got permission, they were allowed to go to the Temple Mount and make sacrifices because they had the ashes. Afal Pisha ain't bias, even though there was no temple. V'mkein yesh lamer shapir esu chachmenu zechron levracha takana kanal l'dira sachenu b'nei Yisrael beretz Yisrael b'Surya akroiva lichtov al yedei shvos nachri oinoi kedei lekayim ha'yishuv b'Yerushalayim u'b'svivoseh kedei sheyuchlu lahakriv karbanos l'tahar mikoidem masha ein ken im lo yidoru shami b'nei Yisrael mi yakriv ha'karbanos gam kishiyitnu lehem rishus al zman muat ki b'mei Ki beini leveni gam im yavayu mi medinas hayam ay mi medinasenu eretz merachak asher haya az kemat bilti mitzias havsharas mi pnei sakonas adrachem hashamimim vasfinoi salayam bilti hamachunais rak al yedei asher yisa'u maruach beinei levnei lebeni Yia chalfa shata shel rishayoin v'loy misayea milsa Ki alkein haya tzrichen levnei Yisrael lador sham v'atiru shvos mipnei takanas mem kaf zechorni levracha zayin lod zayin lamed I don't know. Ube'emes einoi mitzvah saseh midiarais yeshivas eretz Yisrael achar chorban beis hamikdash. In truth, there is no mitzvah, positive mitzvah from the Torah of settling the land of Israel after the destruction of the temple, the holy temple. Ubegoles hanigzer and in the decreed exile, ad biag sabab bias gailenu tzedek b'meher b'meinu, until the coming of the Redeemer, our saint, quickly in our days. Rak takanas chachamim heim amru v'heim amru shaloi ligzer beis hakneses, I don't know, beis kof hey nun l'tzarech mitzvah v'takanasam Kanal v'af she'enai midiaraiso kamay ken matzinu she'atiru shavos lahadlik nachri ner l'tzarech oinai. Shabbos bachilasai. Oh, eineg Shabbos bachilasai gam be'oifen kishekvar kiyam bachilas rishus besudasai kiyotza she'enai midiaraisa oid l'chulei alma. V'alken shapirish nicha de harambam loy chashvu b'sefer mitzvahs b'minin hamitzvahs deraisa kenisker ulechashvai b'mitzvahs derabanan gam ken loy tachen. It's not even a rabbinic mitzvah. Kizulas has shiva mitzvahs derabanan, because other than the 7 rabbinic mitzvahs, yeshnam oid takanas v'isurim memem chav zayin lod mimamrei I don't know chachmenu zerchonu levracha shep Paskum Harambam B'chol Apaiskim Rishonim Lalacha L'Maisev Alkin V'Alm Kozeh Ein Litain Mispar Lahem L'Cheshbam B'Minyan Meduyak. We don't count them in a specific number other than those 7. Masha Ein Kein B'Sefer Hayad B'Hilchos Shabbos Kanal Shapir Hevi Harambam Kedarkai B'Kadosh L'Hevi Sham Kol HaHalachos L'She'ar V'Hahava Ulasid kulam nesfu yachad shama hem takana demaycher bizman chachmenu zechornu some chachmenu kedoshim I don't know ches kaf mem zayin lamed vashas lichtov aynay alidei nachri b'shabes mishum yishuv eretz Yisrael shaya nichutz Oz Kanal Ulididan Bismanenu She'en Lanu Efer Para. We don't have the cow, the ash of the cow. V'asr lahakriv sham, and we can't bring sacrifices. Al ken einoi afilu b'chlal mitzvah starbanan lachesh kanal. So it's not even a rabbinic mitzvah. Forget about a biblical mitzvah. It's not even a rabbinic mitzvah in our days because we don't have the paraduma. It's very technical, and he's going more and more. I mean, look how long this piece is, you know? This specific piece ends over here, okay? So, I know I didn't do a good job, but I did the best I could. And you know what? You know what? It's very, very obvious from what we just read. It's blatantly obvious from what we just read that Zionism, whether it's the secular Zionism of the heretics or the religious Zionism of the Aguda, which is even worse than the secular Zionism because they pretend to be religious, they both have no place in the Torah home. They are the one thing that's withholding the redemption, and we need to utterly destroy Zionism. And that's obvious from this text. And you can bring me all the proofs you want from Zionist rabbis that Zionism is a good thing, and I'll tell you, why do you have to go there? Just read Shabtai Tzvi and follow Shabtai Tzvi and be a Sabbatean and be a Christian and get rid of all the Torah. Meaning, if you're going to remove the Torah and use fake rabbis to prove that you can remove the Torah and be a Zionist, why stop there? Go all the way and be a Sabbatean, Frankist Christian. Like Paul. Do what Paul did. Paul removed himself from the Torah. Shabtai Tzvi removed himself from the Torah. Frank removed himself from the Torah, and the Zionists removed themselves from the Torah. So if you align with the Zionists, you're aligning yourself with Frank, Shabtai Tzvi, and Paul. Just so you know. The end. There's obviously a lot more here, and I didn't do a good enough job reading it, but I did the best I could, and I did a good enough job where you know I'm right. Thank you.